Greetings, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the No Address Podcast Revamped. I am Kalita, and the director of the No Address documentary series, which you can watch on Tubi, Prime Video, and right here on this channel. So let's go ahead and get into it because we got a lot to talk about today. So who is banking this? That's the topic of the day, because we all want to know who is profiting off of the unsheltered population and the industry as a whole. Have you ever heard of the Cicero Institute? Well, let me tell you about it. The Cicero Institute has been widely criticized for advancing policies that criminalize homelessness rather than addressing its root causes, such as lack of affordable housing and mental health care. Rather than promoting housing solutions, the Institute pushes copy-paste legislation like the Reducing Street Homelessness Act, which enforces anti-camping bans, imposes fines and jail time, and penalizes cities that don't clear encampments. Why? Criminalization over compassion. Critics argue that Cicero's approach prioritizes punishment by redirecting funds from Proving Housing First programs, where individuals receive housing without preconditions, toward short-term shelters and law enforcement. This model has been shown to be ineffective and costly, with research indicating that housing is up to 3 times cheaper than criminalization and leads to better health and employment outcomes. Exactly. So if that is the case, why are we criminalizing? Profit over people, right? In every industry, you have profit over people. It's cheaper to house. It costs more money to criminalize. It costs more money to put people in jail, but it's cheaper to house. But we don't even have the inventory to house. So then you say, well, let's go ahead and put them in jail because we don't have enough housing. So that's their shelter. But you get fined. Then you'll have a criminal record. Then you can't get housing. Then you can't get unemployment. So what are we doing here? We're putting people through a maze that you can never get out of. Just because you have fallen on short times or something in your life has occurred that has led you into this position. And a lot of it is systematic that has led you into this position. So therefore, instead of treating people and putting them into homes first and then giving them the wraparound services that they need, housing first, that's why it's called housing first. You put them in housing first and then you give them the treatment that they need. So a lot of times people are putting people in housing and then neglecting the treatment part. That's why they end up back on the streets. So we have to look at this as a holistic approach. It's not a one-size-fits-all. You can't just do one thing without the other. So therefore, that's why you're seeing more and more people go back to the streets and not getting the treatment that they need, which these providers are supposed to provide, right? So then their solution is to go ahead and put people in jail, find cities that aren't doing what they say, taking away funding for the unsheltered or the city itself because you did not criminalize them. That is totally insane. All right, let's keep going. So, we got billionaires backing all of this, right? So let me tell you about this particular billionaire. It's a few founders, but this particular founder, Joe Lonsdale, the Texas-based think tank, leverages significant financial and lobbying power to influence state legislature across the U.S., including Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, and Indiana. Despite claiming to support compassionate solutions, Cicero explicitly opposes housing first and promotes forced treatment and institutionalization. And we already went over the institutionalization in the last podcast. So here's the pushback. Grassroots groups, legal advocates, and municipal organizations have strongly opposed Cicero-backed bills, calling them dangerous, counterproductive, and racially discriminatory. Since the 2024 Supreme Court decision in Grants Pass versus Johnson, which allowed cities to enforce anti-camping laws, Cicero has intensified its camping, sparking protests and legal challenges nationwide. So with this Grant Pass versus Johnson, that was just that open door to just say we can do whatever and we can just criminalize people and we can do any inhumane thing that we want or experiment on people and put them in internment camps. Not the encampments that you see on the streets. They want to clear those and then they want to put everyone into this big warehouse so they can control people, experiment on people, and do whatever they want. Give them whatever treatment that they say that is going to make them better. It's just a mess. So check on your loved ones, even if they've been ostracized from your family. Check on your loved ones, because this is inhumane that they are doing to people, and they're trying to do it silently because you don't know who is backing this with the lobbying. You just see the states enforcing these laws, but these are the people who are behind the scenes that are making the states enforce these laws, and they're giving them an ultimatum to say, if you don't do this, then you won't get any funding. So they're doing that in the education system, and they're doing that in the homeless industrial complex, as we call it. Just like the prison industrial complex. There's a school to prison pipeline. There's a homeless to prison pipeline. Go figure. Let me go back a little bit. The Institute's model legislation, such as Reducing Street Homelessness Act, imposes Class C misdemeanor penalties for sleeping in public with fines up to $5,000 in jail time. Can you afford $5,000? A $5,000 fine? The working class? Okay. So how do you expect an unsheltered person to do that? No, they put these fines so high so they can't get out, so they can be laborers and do whatever else that they want. But they're not criminals. This is not a crime, people. Sleeping and eating in public is not a crime. It's a human right. So I repeat, with fines up to $5,000 in jail time, while threatening cities with loss of funding if they don't enforce encampment bans. This is just bullying. You're bullying people to not take care of people. This is so sad that we live in America where we don't care about Americans. So that's why it's going to take all of us to be the change that we want to see. I keep saying that a lot, but it's really going to take all of us, and I need people to be really compassionate about it. If you don't like what you see, be a part of the change and help people that are trying to make a difference, trying to help people, to be compassionate. A lot of people have dealt with a lot of trauma, and to give them this more layer of trauma to say, you don't even exist to us anymore. You know, just because you can't pay into the system, you don't exist to us anymore. But won't you help people get back into the system? So you just throw people away. But we all know the agenda. We all know the agenda, and we know who gets punished first. So that's why we have to step in and be that barricade and help people and advocate for others. Like this shirt says, advocate for others. These policies are seen as counterproductive, making it harder for people to escape homelessness by adding criminal records and barriers to housing and employment, just like I said. So this is a domino effect. When you affect one thing in somebody else's life, it affects another, like cause and effect, right? Cause and effect. The laws of cause and effect. When there's a cause, there's an effect. So if that is the cause, these are effects from it. So you cause them to go to jail, then now they have a record. They can't get housing nor unemployment. But then we want to blame them and go say, hey, go get a job. Go get a house. Go live somewhere. How can you do that when you have a record? So the average person that is a criminal can't get a house after that, can't get unemployment after that. If they do get unemployment, it's the bare minimum. So that's why we have a lot of day laborers going on around here, because they can't get a regular 9 to 5. They only can get paid daily through construction or whatever they do during day labor. So they're building your city, right? But you want to put them in jail. You use them for their skills, but you put them in jail. It's just, this doesn't make any sense. But this is America, y'all. This is America. I want to tell you a little bit more about Joan Lonsdale, the founder of the Cicero Institute. He is a billionaire entrepreneur and co-founder of Palantir Technologies, a data mining and defense technology company. Lonsdale has been instrumental in shaping the Institute's policy agenda, particularly around criminalizing homelessness and promoting performance-based prison contracts. He also serves as the chair of the Cicero Institute and has publicly expressed support for for-profit models in criminal justice. This guy is terrible. I'm sorry. He is terrible. So if you've never heard of Palantir, let me break Palantir down for you. Here we go. Palantir Technologies is an American software company founded in 2003. Its primary purpose is to develop data integration and analytics platform that enable governments, militaries, and corporations to combine, analyze, and act on a vast amounts of data from disparate resources. It integrates data from sources like satellite imagery, surveillance footage, and confidential informants to detect threats and support operational decisions. It can take your financial records, social media, GPS signal, and government databases into a unified, actionable intelligence system. So this is the police state takeover, the whole surveillance takeover. Palantir will be that company that can combine all of your data into one. Not one having this data, this company having this data, this tech company having this data. Palantir will have data on every single person, everything you do, tracking everyone on this planet. Okay? So let's see what else they do. Palantir has helped U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, build systems to track undocumented immigrants using real-time data. Its software has been used to generate lists of likely offenders, often disproportionately targeting minority communities, reinforcing systematic bias, and undermining community trust. Critics warned that Palantir's platforms could enable the creation of a centralized, government-wide database linking financial, medical, and criminal data, potentially enabling political retaliation or blackmail. Palantir's algorithms operate in secrecy, making it difficult for the public, lawmakers, or even judges to understand or challenge its decision, creating an unaccountable digital eye. And they're letting this happen. Why? Profit over people. Profit over people. This is what they do. This is so sad that we are ending up here. So you got to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself and do whatever you can do to prevent yourself from becoming unsheltered. I know times are very, 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 very hard. And community, we have to come together as a community and take care of ourselves because they don't give a about us. All right? If you didn't know, now you know. Peter Thiel is a co-founder for Palantir Technologies, and Joe Longsdale is a co-founder as well. Ooh, this rabbit hole goes deep. Okay, the Cicero Institute has received significant funding from groups like the Koch Network, KOCH Network, including Stand Together Trust and Charles Koch Foundation. So I would like for you all to do your research on the Koch Foundation because that rabbit hole goes even deeper and they own a lot of corporations here and basically the political system. So this is what we have going on. And I just want to make it transparent because a lot of people have no idea who is backing these things. The Cicero Institute is one of the main right-wing think tanks promoting state-level bans on unauthorized street camping, otherwise known as sleeping in public while unhoused. Longsdale and one of the Cicero's senior advisors suggests on Longsdale podcast that the public should return to calling homeless people as vagrants, bums, and tramps. Child. What in the world? We're not even helping people. We're just like categorizing people and calling them names and saying, let's just go back because that makes people, if you call them vagrants and bums and tramps, then that gives the connotation of, oh, they're useless people. So we're not going to even worry about them. We're not going to put our energy into helping anybody that they call vagrant and bums, right? But when you say unsheltered, unhoused, that gives it a more relaxed feeling of, why are they unsheltered? Why are they housed? I want to know more. I want to help people. I want to do things or mentally, unstable or something like that. But when you go back and put these negative terms on people, even the term homeless sounds terrible, so you put these negative terms on people, then that's going to put in their psyche that, oh, we don't even need to deal with them anymore. So it's going to give the preconception of they're not worth your time or energy or help. This is sad. This is sad. So, people are backing criminalization. People are backing what's going on. So we have to become lobbyists and activists ourselves. I put out a video talking about the Cicero Institute and a call to action at the end of it. So I'll add this to the podcast and would like for you to go to change.org and sign that petition, because the more petitions we can get, we can make this a thing and take to our legislatures to say, we need to pull back on this. We need to find real solutions, which there are real solutions, and not encampments and enforce institutionalizations. And I really go deep in that into the first documentary, the No Address Columbia series. I've really talked about how they closed mental institutions and what they did initially to have these mental institutions closed. It was so inhumane. They just degraded people and treated people like animals and not human beings. And they test people and shock therapy and waterboarding and all kinds of things. And we don't need that again. We don't need that again. If we're going to put people in so-called institutions, we need to really be compassionate and give them the real help that they need, because a lot of people have become mental ill by being on the streets, not prior to being on the streets, in my opinion, what I've seen. So I would probably become mental too if I were on the streets for a while. So we have to really look at real alternative solutions, and the solution is housing. Let's advocate to get real affordable housing back on the books, duplexes or whatever we need so we can put a mass amount of people in homes, even apartment buildings, even the rapid reuse bill that the National Coalition for the Homeless is advocating for and pushing out there to get like 50,000 units that are these dilapidated buildings or just buildings that are vacant, to turn them into housing. So that is a smart way. Why are we looking at these old buildings when we drive by all the time and they can have a purpose? So let's do better. Even hotels that's already built, 100 to 200 rooms already that can house people. If you really want to get rid of the situation, be a part of the change and listen to the legislation. Politicians, listen to the people that want to make the change. Listen to the people that are asking for the help. We can't do it by ourselves. It's going to take a collaborative effort. I know everybody's doing their own thing, but if we really want to see real change, we have to come together and stop being in silos, as we always say. Stop using these words and let's change the narrative, right? That's what we're here for, is to change the narrative. All right, so I'm going to get on my soapbox right now, and I'm going to talk about something positive. Georgia House Bill 1166, 2025 to 2026 session, is a legislative measure aimed to expanding housing options by allowing the construction of tiny homes or accessory dwelling units, also known as ADUs, of 400 square feet or less on residential properties across the state. The bill overrides local zoning restrictions that would otherwise prohibit or require approval for such small dwellings, provided that they are built as secondary units on a parcel with an existing primary residence. So if you have land, right, or if you have a home and would like to put an accessory dwelling unit, a tiny home in your backyard, and you can charge rent and it can work with HUD and have a stipend and you can get paid and have someone unsheltered or a little family or a single mom and a child or something to live in your backyard, they are making it possible without any zoning restrictions to make this happen. So I think that is good. Accessory dwelling units is a start. It definitely is a start for people that are willing to have someone reside on their property. It passed the Georgia House of Representatives on March 6 with a vote of 111 to 50 after amendments were added to prevent institutional investors and corporate buyers from using ADUs as separate saleable units. Because they would come in and sneak in and try to take over and say, oh, they even cheaper. Let's make money off this and buy up all the ADUs. So they put that amendment in there that they cannot do that. No more corporate takeover. Thank you. All right. So the bill moves to the Georgia Senate for consideration, where it is expected to undergo committee review and possible amendments. Key provisions. ADUs must comply with existing state and local building codes, septic requirements, regulations, historic preservation rules, and infrastructure requirements. The size limit of 400 square feet is intended to ensure these units remain secondary to the main home. Local governments retain authority over utilities, public works, flood insurance, and environmental standards. All right, so hopefully that gets passed in the Senate and we can move forward. But I love that there are no zoning restrictions and permits and things like that, because that's a lot of red tape that people have to go through in order to get things done. So let's move forward. And then the next step be even bigger homes and even bigger homes. And then our shipping container homes and things that we do. So next time I'm going to talk about our foundation and how we are working and collaborating with other organizations with our vision to build sustainable alternative style homes for the unsheltered. So we're going to take this on our local, state, and nationwide tour to build real affordable housing for people and give them the services that they need. So it's a lot of layers to this, but when you really collaborate with other organizations, like I'm the housing piece, then we'll have the provider piece, and then we'll have the service piece, the resource piece, the this piece, and that piece, workforce piece, like all of that. That's what collaboration is. And not saying, well, we just focus on this and we just focus on that. But actually, we're focused on the unsheltered, right? So all of it is worth each other collaborating together to really have these solutions work. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I appreciate your time and attention. So go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. And don't forget to check out the documentaries, our foundation. Go to our website, noaddressdocumentary.com. And we'll see you next time. Peace and love.